Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, Coin Enthusiasts. Today, we're talking about one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in the world of numismatics, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny. You might think, it's just a penny, right? What's so special about that? Well, hold on tight, because this particular penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined, especially if you know what to look for. Let's dive into the fascinating story behind this humble 1-cent coin, and uncover what makes the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny not just a piece of history, but a potential treasure worth thousands of dollars. First off, let's go back in time. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse side of the coin features the famous wheat stalks, which gave the coin its iconic wheat penny name. It remained in circulation for decades, but by 1957, it was nearing the end of its reign. The 1957 version, although still in widespread circulation at the time, holds a unique place in coin collecting history due to its connection to the end of an era. What makes the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny stand out from the millions of other pennies produced that year? While many of these pennies were struck in large quantities and widely circulated, the real value comes from the rarity and condition of surviving coins. As you might imagine, coins that have been used in everyday transactions over the years often show signs of wear, damage, or discoloration. But every once in a while, a coin survives in near-perfect condition, and it's these coins that truly capture the attention of collectors. The key to the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny's value lies in its rarity, particularly when it's found in mint state condition. Most of these pennies were heavily circulated, which means that finding one in excellent shape is extremely rare. A coin that has maintained its original luster, free from any major wear, scratches, or discoloration, becomes highly prized by collectors. If you're lucky enough to stumble upon a 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny in such pristine condition, you're looking at a potential treasure. But there's more to this penny than just condition. Let's talk about errors. In the world of coin collecting, errors are a huge deal. Even a small mistake during the minting process can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into something extraordinary. For the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny, there are several types of errors that can increase its value. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die error, where the coin is struck twice, causing certain parts of the design to appear doubled. This might show up on the date, the word liberty, or even the motto, "In God We Trust." These double die coins are incredibly rare, and collectors will pay top dollar for one in excellent condition. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process. This results in a coin where part of the design is missing, creating a unique and visually striking piece. Off-center strikes are highly prized by collectors because they're not only rare but also visually captivating. And then there are the die cracks. These occur when the die used to strike the coin starts to break or crack. While these cracks might seem like a flaw, they actually add to the uniqueness and rarity of the coin. Die cracks are a sign of the aging process of the minting equipment, and collectors love the history they represent. So, what's the big payoff for the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny? What could this penny actually be worth? If you have a 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny in near-perfect condition, especially one with a rare minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be sitting on a fortune. And when I say fortune, I mean an impressive $48,000, yes, that's right, $48,000 for a single penny. It's mind-boggling to think that a simple 1-cent coin from 1957 could hold that much value, but in the world of coin collecting, rarity and condition are everything. So, what should you do if you find a 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny? First, take a moment to check its condition. If it's free from significant wear and tear, you may have a valuable coin on your hands. Next, carefully examine it for any errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. If you spot any of these unique characteristics, you could have a rare and valuable coin that could fetch thousands of dollars at auction. It's amazing how something as small as a penny can hold such incredible value. And it's a reminder that coin collecting isn't just about finding rare coins, it's about knowing what to look for, understanding the history behind the coins, and appreciating the beauty and craftsmanship that goes into every piece. Today, we have a special treat for you as we take a deep dive into a coin that many might overlook at first but could be worth an extraordinary amount. We're talking about the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that could be hiding a surprising value. If you've ever wondered what makes some coins more valuable than others, stick around because we're about to reveal how this humble penny could be worth a fortune. Let's start with a little background on the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909, is one of the most iconic coins in American history. With its famous design featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, it quickly became a symbol of American currency. However, by 1958, the design was nearing its end, as it was replaced the following year with the Lincoln Memorial design that we see today. Now, you might be thinking, it's just another penny, right? But the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny isn't your average 1-cent coin. In fact, the value of this particular penny can skyrocket when you consider its rarity, condition, and any minting errors that may have occurred during its production. So, what makes this coin so special? First, let's talk about rarity. The 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced in large numbers, with over 1 billion coins minted that year. So, if you're just finding a regular penny from 1958 in your collection, it's likely not going to be worth much, unless it meets certain criteria that elevate its value. But here's the catch: finding one of these coins in mint state or uncirculated condition is incredibly rare. The majority of these pennies were circulated, worn down over time, and no longer retain their original luster. That's why coins in excellent condition are so valuable. A 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny that looks as though it was just minted yesterday is a true treasure, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins like these, but condition alone isn't what makes the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny a potential goldmine. Minting errors can be the real game changer in the world of coin collecting. The 1958 penny has been known to feature a few remarkable errors that make it worth a lot more than face value. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck multiple times, causing part of the design, usually the date or lettering, to appear doubled. If you happen to find a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a double die, especially on the date, it could significantly increase its value. These errors are extremely rare and highly prized by collectors, as they make the coin one of a kind. Another potential error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not aligned correctly during the minting process, resulting in part of the design being cut off or misaligned. A 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with an off-center strike can be a visually striking piece, making it even more appealing to collectors who specialize in error coins. Die cracks are also worth keeping an eye on. These occur when the die used to strike the coin starts to crack, which can leave a permanent mark on the coin. Though die cracks are typically viewed as flaws, they actually add uniqueness to the coin, making it more interesting and valuable in the eyes of a collector. So, let's get to the most exciting part: how much could your 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny be worth? If you have one in mint state or uncirculated condition, or if it has a double die or off-center strike, it could fetch a surprising amount of money at auction. Ready for this? A 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny in excellent condition, especially with a minting error, could be worth an impressive $45,000. Yes, that's right, $45,000 for just one penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once in regular circulation, something you may have casually spent decades ago, could now hold such tremendous value. The beauty of coin collecting is that sometimes, the most unassuming coins hide massive value, and the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny is the perfect example of that. So, what should you do if you come across a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny? First, take a moment to examine its condition carefully. Is it in great shape with little to no wear and tear? If it looks nearly as fresh as the day it was minted, you may have a valuable coin on your hands. Next, check for any errors. Is there a double die in the date? Or maybe an off-center strike? Those little imperfections are what could turn a regular penny into a collector's dream. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for rare and unique finds, and the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the right attributes could be a golden ticket to a small fortune. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, it's not always about the year on the coin, but the rarity and condition that can make all the difference. If you have a 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny in your collection, give it a second glance. It could be worth much more than you ever thought possible. Today, we're diving into a coin that's been circulating for decades but still holds incredible potential for collectors, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny. You may be wondering, what's so special about a penny from 1952? Well, grab your magnifying glass and get ready for a deep dive, because this penny could be worth a lot more than you think. Let's rewind for a moment and set the stage. The Lincoln Wheat penny has been one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the wheat stalks on the reverse side became an instantly recognizable symbol of the U.S. economy. The coin was produced in large numbers until it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. However, that doesn't mean the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny isn't worth paying attention to. It's a coin that's well worth your time, especially if you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out. So, what's the big deal with the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny? Well, while most of the 1952 pennies were produced in the millions and circulated widely, a select few survived in pristine condition, making them incredibly valuable today. Finding a 1952 penny that hasn't been worn down over the years is rare, and that's where the real value lies. When coins like this stay in mint condition, they catch the eye of collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for them, but that's not all. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny is a coin that could also be hiding a minting error, which is exactly what makes it even more special. You see, in the world of numismatics, errors are the golden ticket. Whether it's a double die, a misstrike, or a die crack, errors are what separate a regular coin from one that can bring in a substantial amount of money. These types of errors are rare, and when they occur, they can dramatically increase the value of a coin, sometimes by thousands of dollars. Let's start with one of the most exciting error types you could find on a 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny, the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck multiple times, causing part of the design to appear doubled. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny has been known to have double die errors, especially on the date and the word Liberty. If you've got a penny from 1952 and notice that the date or letters appear to have a slight duplication, you could be holding onto a highly sought-after error coin. These types of coins are rare, and collectors will pay a premium for one in excellent condition. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, which results in part of the design being off-center. An off-center 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny can be visually striking, with part of the wheat stalks or the word Liberty missing from the edge of the coin. These errors are incredibly rare, and when they're found in good condition, they can fetch a premium price at auction. Let's not forget about die cracks, another type of error that can significantly increase a coin's value. A die crack happens when the die used to strike the coin develops a crack, leaving a visible mark on the coin. While most die cracks might seem like imperfections, in the world of coin collecting, they are actually considered a unique and valuable feature. A 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny with a noticeable die crack could be worth much more than a regular, unmarked penny. So, how much could a 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny be worth if it's in great condition or has one of these rare minting errors? You might be sitting on a fortune. Coins from this era that have been well preserved and feature minting errors can easily go for a substantial amount at auction. And when I say substantial, I mean $49,000, yes, that's right, $49,000 for a single 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? A penny that most of us would casually overlook could potentially be worth a small fortune if you happen to find one in perfect condition, or with an exciting error like a double die or off-center strike. It's a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, rarity, condition, and those little mistakes during minting can have a huge impact on a coin's value. So, if you have a 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny in your collection, it's time to take a closer look. Check the condition. Does it still have its original luster, with little to no wear? If so, congratulations, you may have a hidden gem on your hands. Then, carefully inspect it for any errors like double die marks, off-center strikes, or die cracks. You never know when you might have just found a rare coin that could be worth thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into a very special coin that you might not have thought twice about, but could be hiding a serious treasure. It's the 1975 Lincoln Wheat penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny from 1975, but don't be fooled by its age. This coin, which many people might overlook, is actually a gem in the world of numismatics. The Lincoln Wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 until 1958, is one of the most iconic and beloved series in American coin history. But you might be wondering, why are we talking about a penny from 1975 today? Well, even though the Lincoln Wheat penny design officially ended in 1958, this specific coin from 1975 still carries a fascinating connection to the original series, and here's where it gets interesting. First, let's set the stage. In 1975, the United States Mint was celebrating the bicentennial of the country. While the official U.S. coinage didn't feature the redesigned images for the bicentennial until 1976, this was still a time of great change and transformation for U.S. currency. Although most people think of the modern pennies when they see a coin from 1975, the 1975 Lincoln Wheat penny stands out for its rarity and unique features that make it highly coveted by coin collectors today. So, why is this 1975 penny so valuable? Well, one of the main factors that make this coin so desirable is its rarity. While 1975 pennies were produced in large numbers, a small number of them were actually minted with errors that have caught the eye of collectors. These errors, while subtle, can make the difference between a common penny and one that is worth a lot of money. One of the most notable features that make these 1975 Lincoln Wheat pennies so special is the double die error. This is one of the most sought-after errors for coin collectors. A double die happens when the coin's die is struck twice, causing the design to be doubled in certain areas. When a coin is struck with a double die, it results in a design that looks a little blurry or offset, especially noticeable in the date or inscriptions on the coin. If you find a 1975 Lincoln penny that has doubled lettering or a double die date, you could be holding onto something truly special. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. When a coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, it results in part of the design being shifted to the edge of the coin. This can make the 1975 penny look unique, with the details shifted or cut off entirely. Off-center coins are rare and incredibly exciting for collectors who appreciate their imperfection and distinctiveness. Aside from mint errors, condition is another huge factor in determining the value of a 1975 Lincoln Wheat penny. Many of these pennies were circulated heavily and have experienced plenty of wear and tear. However, a penny that has survived in mint condition, with no scratches, discoloration, or signs of heavy use, can drastically increase its value. A well-preserved 1975 penny is much rarer than you might think, and collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for one that has been carefully stored and protected from damage. Now, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. How much is this coin worth? If you've got a 1975 Lincoln Wheat penny in pristine condition, or better yet, one with an exciting minting error, it could be worth an impressive $38,000. Yes, that's right, $38,000. It's incredible, isn't it? A 1975 penny that most people would simply toss into their change jar could end up being worth a small fortune if it's in the right condition or has the right error. This is a prime example of why coin collecting is so thrilling. You never know what treasure might be hidden in a simple piece of change. So, if you happen to have a 1975 Lincoln Wheat penny sitting in your collection, take a closer look. Check for any unusual double die errors or off-center strikes. Examine the condition of the coin carefully. Does it look uncirculated, with sharp details and no signs of wear? If so, you could be holding onto a rare and valuable piece of U.S. coin history. Before you head off to dig through your coins, remember that coin collecting is not just about making money. It's about appreciating the beauty, craftsmanship, and history that each coin represents. But if you happen to come across a 1975 penny with an error or in mint condition, you'll certainly have a rare piece worth cherishing. Today we're diving into a coin that might look like any other penny at first glance but has a secret tucked away that could make it worth thousands. We're talking about the 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny. Now, many of you may be thinking, what's so special about a penny from 1976? Well, buckle up, because this coin has a fascinating story behind it and some features that could make it much more valuable than you might expect. Let's start with a bit of history. In 1976, the United States was celebrating its bicentennial, a monumental event marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. While the bicentennial had its own special coins, the 1976 Lincoln penny still had the classic design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous wheat ears on the reverse. But don't be fooled by its outward appearance. This coin is special for a few reasons, especially if you know what to look for. First, let's talk about rarity. The 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny was part of the regular mintage that year, so it wasn't a limited edition coin. It was produced in large quantities, just like most pennies. But as is often the case with coins, it's not just the year of issue that determines its value. It's about condition, errors, and rarity, and the 1976 penny checks a few of those boxes. One of the main reasons that this penny is of interest to collectors is due to the minting errors that occurred during production. Errors happen during the minting process when a coin doesn't receive the proper strike or alignment. For example, one of the most coveted errors you might find on a 1976 penny is the double die error. This happens when the die used to stamp the coin strikes the coin more than once, causing the design to appear doubled in certain areas. You can often notice this error on the date or the inscription on the coin, where the letters or numbers appear to be slightly offset. A double die coin is always a big deal for collectors because it makes the coin much more distinctive and valuable. Another error that collectors keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned with the press during minting, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. This creates a unique look for the coin, and collectors are always on the hunt for these kinds of coins. When an off-center strike occurs, the coin can become highly sought after, with some even fetching prices higher than expected. Aside from errors, condition is another critical factor that makes the 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny so valuable. While most of these pennies were circulated in everyday transactions, there are a few that have survived in excellent condition. Coins that have been well preserved, without any signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, are highly prized by collectors. The rarer these coins are in top condition, the higher their potential value. Now, let's talk about the significance of the 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny within the broader scope of U.S. coinage. It might not be a special edition, but because of its association with the bicentennial year, and because of its potential mint errors, it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. A 1976 penny is more than just a piece of currency, it's a piece of history. It represents a time of celebration, change, and reflection on the United States independence. So, here's the big question: how much could a 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to have one that's in mint condition or, even better, one that features one of those rare minting errors, it could fetch an impressive $32,000. Yes, you heard that right, $32,000. While most 1976 pennies are worth just 1 cent, if you happen to have one that's either an error coin or in pristine condition, it could bring in a small fortune. That's the beauty of coin collecting, the potential to uncover hidden treasures in the most unexpected places. If you happen to find a 1976 Lincoln Wheat penny with a double die error, an off-center strike, or one in mint condition, you could be holding on to a piece of history that's not only rare but incredibly valuable. Make sure to carefully check your pennies. Sometimes, the smallest details can make a world of difference when it comes to a coin's worth. I hope you found this video both informative and exciting, and who knows, maybe you'll take a closer look at your pocket change and find a 1976 penny that could be worth a lot more than you thought. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coins, and subscribe for more videos on rare and valuable coins. Until next time, happy collecting!